everyone, I'm Professor Dinkles. I'm sure many of you have been wondering where that grumpy old bastard's been. Professor Dinkles has an explanation for this. You see, not only is Bolstrek miserable and grumpy, but he's also very lazy. But it looks like he's finally gotten off his miserable ass and has managed to put a video together. So sit back and let Bolstrek depress the ever-loving hell out of you.
Doctor Who's 11th series and the 13th Doctor continue to be the gifts that keep on giving. Defenses of our favorite dumpster fire fell into absurdity a while ago, but we can't help but laugh at them as they continue to come out. Given that Series 11 is universally loathed amongst most real Doctor Who fans, and really most of the general public at this point, one must ask why anyone would continue to defend it. It just makes you look like an idiot. But alas, the soy-based, perpetually triggered basement minions continue to try to prove they're woke to the nobody that listens to them. Well, maybe some blue-haired land whales and white boys that dress like Urkel. Take, for example, Watch Mojo. Occasionally, they'll have interesting lists, but the infestation of clueless wokeness has perpetuated itself as they seem to be running out of ideas. But their wokeness ain't got nothing on the UK version. Watch Mojo UK is a soy trip of patheticness right out of hell, and it reached the heights of patheticness recently when it published the hilariously titled Top 10 Reasons Doctor Who Series 11 Was Actually Good. We can probably already guess the reasons without even watching the video, but needless to say, a more accurate assessment would be 10 reasons why Series 11 was terrible, or top 10 reasons why once great science fiction series became little more than a toilet at an angry feminist rally. I'd love to play some clips from this soy-fueled video, but since YouTube are being royal dicks lately, we'll have to settle for screen caps. I don't think we really need to hear our narrator anyway. You can probably guess what he sounds like. Our manly and opposite land narrator mentions that the season was a bit divisive, but the comedy really comes when we are told that this farce of a list is supposed to be everything that the show got right. I guess it is on planet virtue signaling moron. At number 10, Hipster Boy claims that the series was accessible for new audiences. Well, it might be more accurate to say that the show attempted to attract new audiences of the soy-based and third-wave feminist SJW type. They stayed around to virtue signal and hate for a while, but then most of them got lazy and ran away, like the rest of the audience by the time the New Year's special rolled around. These people don't stick around very long after they've destroyed things. Hipster Soy Boy does mention that Moffat's arcs could be a bit complex. Well, I think we all miss Moffat now, but Series 11 was not something we were looking for and more accessible, unless you're trying to make it more accessible to 5-year-olds. Number 9, in keeping with the classics, good lord, here desperately seeking approval only to end in mockery boy is trying to make the claim that Series 11 has a much more grounded feel, like the classic series, apparently. Jesus, our little princess actually uses the term social justice in describing Series 11's approach. Oh, I love the lack of self-awareness here. Here he made the, shall we say, somewhat questionable comparison between the Whittaker era and the Davison and McCoy eras. It's like comparing prime rib to what my dog left on the sidewalk this morning. Can you please provide me with some evidence as to specific instances to where either of these classic doctors insulted a specific racial and gender demographic to get a twisted ideological message of hatred across? Because I know the original series from memory and I can't recall this ever happening. Unless there's some secret lost episode, amongst all the others that the BBC threw in the bin. Wow, the BBC really seems to hate this show. But then, I am old. Maybe it's the early onset Alzheimer's talking. I have a feeling that little boy Never Gonna Get Some has never actually watched any of these episodes. New villains. Oh yeah, we really love the Tooth Monster. Then the little boy who cries himself to sleep at night because girls laugh at him mentions that the real monster in Series 11 was intolerance and prejudice. Oh yes, who forgot stand-in Trump, the evil single father, or the space racist? Oh, it was intolerant and prejudiced alright, just not in the way you think, little man. At number 7, our Forever Virgin references Alan Cumming as King James. Actually, I like Cumming in that episode. Written by a bitter feminist where we got to hear Whittaker complain about how oppressed she is for 45 minutes. There is some comedy here that went completely over the heads of the Forever Triggered though. I don't think King James was actually written to be a comedic role. After all, angry and bitter old feminists really aren't known for their sense of humor. I think Cumming performed the role in this way because there's no way any sane person could have read those lines and taken them seriously. Half marks for this one, little man, you got that half right, but then completely missed the point about what made it funny. Nice try though. At number 6, our sexual harassment accusation in the making argues that Chib's dumpster fire demanded attention and got people talking. Well yes, Whittaker did indeed demand attention, but it didn't quite work out in the way she had hoped. Oh, it did get people talking, or perhaps it was just the shock at realizing what had happened to their favorite show, kind of like the shock after the passing of a loved one. All hail Chibs, the destroyer of all that was once great. Our little man claims that, while the show lost steam under Capaldi, the Whammons came in and made it all better again. He faps away at the mention of the casting of Jodie Whittaker got people talking about the show again. Well, yes, and people talk about the shit explosion that results from eating sushi that's been left out in the sun too long, but that doesn't mean they enjoy it. They just want to remove the stains and be done with it. Speaking of crap, our little poop stain then reminds us that the first episode of series Wham in Power had a lot of views, but forgot to mention that this dropped as people ran away from the show in the same way they would run from the room where said shit explosion occurred. Nobody likes exploding shit, just like nobody likes the 13th Doctor. At number 5, Little Boy, probably hiding some dark and disturbing secret that forced him to be the king of virtue signalers, lets us know that point 5 is, get ready for it, diversity and inclusion. And here at the midpoint of this video, I may warn you that estrogen levels may rise by merely listening to our little woke hero. He makes sure to mention the casting of Whammon again and Ryan's dyspraxia, which was barely ever touched on. At number 4, we get the episode that had every woke closet predator wanking themselves dry. Rosa. What more needs to be said here? Take an important historical event and turn it into one of the most racist things I've ever seen come across my screen. For many people, this was when the corpse of Doctor Who fell over and started to convulse. An episode about racial discrimination that seemed to be completely unaware that it was perpetuating racial discrimination, with some of the worst acting I've ever seen in Doctor Who. And don't forget the space racist. You can't make this stuff up. At number 3, the one never to be deflowered, lists best production values. Actually, when all was said and done, the series looked and sounded completely flat. Jesus, little man, you couldn't even get that right. Point number 2 is the only one I agree with. Yep, we all love Graham. And it was one of the only things in the entire series that was actually watchable. It's funny though. I don't think Little Boy Blue insert blank, see what I did there, actually realizes what he did here. Oh, are your little woke friends going to have fun with you when they realize that you gave the position to a white dude? Someone's in trouble. And of course, at top spot, our little boy who will probably die a virgin lists Jodie Whittaker. Our little man says that Whittaker made the role her own. Yep, she sure did, in a way we had never seen before. Apparently, this doctor was also likable. I guess I was watching an entirely different show then, especially given that whoever Soy Boy is talking about apparently has acting range. And that's it for Watch Mojo UK's latest Soy Fest. This show is doomed. I need a drink.
Well, everyone, wasn't that fun? Hopefully Bull's Track doesn't make us wait another 3 weeks before making another video. Well, goodbye!